work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's crackulated? What's popping? You know what it is. It's me, your boy, Trey the Commish, and we rocking with your favorite vets on the net this morning. First formation, morning sports talk. Morning is just I guess you could say an adjective, but it is sports talk in any case. But sometimes we get into a little more than just that. But it is what it is. It comes as it goes. Gracious morning. I was out the net a little bit last week. Actually, gonna be out the net tomorrow and Thursday as well, as I got a couple of things to do virtually. But I'm here right now, so go ahead and get to it. Couple of conversations that's been going on. I see a lot of people. We get into that point of the year where, you know what I'm saying, it's a little bit different now because we're getting to where the teams have kind of been hashed out and everything has been broken down. Everything is being broken down to where you basically know where you're at, whether it's NFL. Still a little early for basketball as the NBA is just getting started. You're starting to see some teams basically thin themselves out and see that those are dominant. Others, not so much. NCAA men's and women's basketball is kicking off last night. A couple of teams kicked off. Purdue, number 2 in the nation, with the reigning National Player of the Year, Edie. They did their thing last night. We had fall from grace for a short amount of time, as of course the women's UConn and LSU took L's, dropping them from the top ranks, but they are still in the top 10. Shout out to the lady of the hour, Juju Watkins. If y'all don't know, check her out. That Trojans all day, on to victory. Fight on for the women's. For USC Trojans is a top 10 team, and they're getting it in. But of course, the men, we haven't found out yet. As it comes to football, the USC men ain't doing too well. But I digress anyway. We fall down, but we get up. Speaking of falling down and get up, NFL popped off over this course of this weekend. So now for those who are bandwagoneers, it's your opportunity to basically slide into the shrubs and get into it, in which you talk about when it comes to the team. So as we all know, for me, is always bang, bang, Niner game. San Francisco 49ers is my squad. I rep my squad. If our man Bishop, the GOAT, as he called himself, was on, we'll hear the conversation about the Philadelphia Eagles and all that. I'm saying it here right now. Philadelphia Eagles lose Monday night on versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all heard it here. No hate or anything like that. They take their second L, currently best record in the NFL. But let's just go back through the NFL in general, what we're talking about. For first and foremost, the Carolina Panthers played against the Chicago Bears. We was able to catch that game. I was in Charlotte this past weekend, caught a glimpse of that game a little bit. In-state, the Bears were victorious, taking their record to 3-7. Now, when he first started off, I thought the Bears was going to be, they are somewhat trash, but I thought they was going to be a little more trashy than what they are now. Interestingly enough, with Justin Fields out currently, they have managed to put together 2 games without him, their franchise quarterback. But yet they're still 3-7. At this point, they would have to go on a 7-game win streak to basically end up to have any look of making the playoffs. So we can almost presume that they're going to be a top 10 drafter this year. On the other side of the spectrum, the Carolina Panthers currently at 1-8. They're not going anywhere, it seems like. Of course, in-state, it came down, that 1-8 came down to the fact that they took the L to the Chicago Bears 16-13 on Thursday night. Bryce Young was 21 for 38 for 185 yards, 3 sacks for a loss of 15 yards. On the other side, special Tyson Bagnet, if you haven't heard of him, he's the backup. He's the current starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, in which he was 20 for 33, 162 yards, no touchdowns. But I guess you can take off, even trade off no interceptions as well. And didn't take a sack. Chuba Hubbard rushed 9 times for 23 yards. Compliments from Rasheem Blackshear, 2 for 7, 3 for 18 from Bryce Young. Chicago, Deontay Foreman read the charge for his Bears with 21 carries for 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Rashawn Johnson contributed 5 carries and 18 yards, 1 for 16 yards from Tyler Scott. Tyson contributed with 6 carries on with 12 yards earned, and Drayden with 2 for 5. But I think it was more so made up with the movement of the ball when it came down to the receiving, especially for Chicago Bears. DJ Moore, who they brought in from Carolina in the trade, which is odd enough. The L that Chicago gave the Carolina Panthers strengthens their opportunity to get yet again the number 1 draft pick, because if the Carolina Panthers are the worst team, that draft pick is going to be Chicago's due to the fact of the trades that they had to bring in DJ Moore. So it's funny how the tables turn in state. But in state, DJ Moore was 5 receptions for 58 yards. Cole Kemet, 5 for 45 on his own. Tyler Scott had 1 reception for 15 yards. Darnell Mooney contributed 2 receptions for 14 yards. Rashawn Johnson, 2 times that much, but the same yards as he was 4 for 14. Deontay Foreman adds 2 receptions for 12 yards. And Equanius St. Brown was 1 for 4. From the Carolina Panthers, Mike Stranchard was 1 reception for 45 yards, a nice deep pass, but it ended there for him. Adam Thielen coming down to earth a little bit, 6 receptions, 42 yards. Jonathan Mingo, the rookie, 3 for 20, and Chuba Hubbard was 2 for 16. Miles Hubbard and Sanders, 2 for 15 as well. So real quick before I move on, right? Miles Sanders coming from the Philadelphia Eagles just last season, in which he was the premier back. Now that he's in Carolina, to where what he displayed in Philadelphia was expected to be put them at in a different place. I haven't seen anything from Miles Sanders. I'm starting to wonder, was it the offensive coordinator? Was it the fact of the weapons he had around him in Philadelphia? Or is it just that Miles Sanders is not that player in which we thought he was? What is it for the most part with Miles Sanders? I take in consideration thinking about players like Christian McCaffrey, who was at one time in Carolina himself, and he was that dude in Carolina. So I wonder, is it a Miles Sanders thing, or is it trying to get back on track, or what is it? Because what we know is, for the most part, there's players out there that no matter where you put them, they're going to shine. I know Miles Sanders has had a couple of injuries and things of that nature, but when are we going to get an opportunity to see Miles Sanders pull up, especially for people who have fantasy? Of course, fantasy is huge now, in which, of course, we know players don't particularly care about the fantasy. They do what they can when they can, and it's not based on what they're going to earn for a fan in state. But just looking at it, Miles Sanders, where are you at, fam? Let's get it. But as I said again, Chicago was able to be victorious, 16-13, pushing themselves to 3-7 on the year, coming up on a bye soon. So if you got DJ Moore, Cole Kemet, and things like that. Hey, Anthony, what's good with you? So that was expected, man. I'm loving it. I didn't need James Harden. If he ain't in purple and gold, then there ain't no reason for him. It ain't no reason for me to be cheering for him anyway, especially if he's in LA now. Like, at this point, you the op. But we're gonna get to that, Anthony. Be sure to glad to see you in formation with me this morning, fam. Stay tapped in. When we get to NBA, we'll re-engage that on what is going on in LA. Is there just adjustment period, or is this the new perception of who James Harden is? So we definitely gonna get to that. Just tap in. Stay seated, man. We're gonna get to talk about Washington too. The Commanders. I know you got a lot to say about that. The man Anthony Price. So check this out, right? moving on, of course, I could, go straight, to with the meat and potatoes, but I'm not going to do that yet. A couple of other ones. Let me just get some random selections to all my beloved Who That Nation fans out there. We're going to go Who That. We're going to go Who They. How about that? So, Who That? Where y'all at? It's cool to be 5-5 because that's what the record is right now. Completely cool to be 5-5. But what is going on? At the beginning of the NFL season, when me and my man Bishop was on, I stated that for the NFC South, that the New Orleans Saints was going to be the number one team in that division. At this point, they're holding on to that by a thread because other teams have faltered, but it's not too far off to see they're in striking distance, right? And I would not have thought that without Justin Jefferson, without currently Kirk Cousins, and I'm getting to that, Anthony. You are so right in my opinion. Without Kirk Cousins, that it would be a different team in Minnesota, in which I can't hold you. They beat the San Francisco 49ers without Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins was carving them up. And then, of course, Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions that was detrimental to our ability to come back when we had the opportunity. But again, I digress. We're still in the hunt. Currently, Minnesota's still in the hunt too. 6-4. The New Orleans Saints 5-5. They're not in the losing streak right now. I mean, they are on a losing streak, or are they? No, I think they're 1-1, lost a 1L for the week. But the 5-5, like Anthony was just stating and talking about, they're 5-5 right now. So with them being 5-5, they're at a 500. Going into a bye, and then they're gonna come out and have to play ball again. In this case, on this day, they end up taking the L to Minnesota just this weekend by the score of 27-19. Jameis Winston had to come in and relieve Derek Carr because Derek Carr went out with what was presumed to be an injury. Before going out, Derek Carr was 13-18, 110 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he took 2 sacks for 12, a loss of 12 yards. Jameis Winston finishing up the game, 13 for 25, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Jameis Winston is going to Jameis Winston. The gunslinger threw 2 interceptions. His deep ball just isn't what it is anymore. But of course, we got to take in consideration when Jameis Winston was on his 30 for 30 type stuff. A lot of it came because the deep ball, right? He threw a lot of deep passes, trying to show that he had that that ability, and he ended up with 30 touchdowns, but also inherited 30 interceptions. So, and then 1 sack on the night, of course, for 5 yards, not bad. Alvin Kamara back in the thick of it, but we haven't seen what we wanted to see from Alvin Kamara, right? I know me and I think Bishop was talking, right, and had a conversation to where when you take consideration, they're in the same mode, in my opinion, Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. At this point, they're both the same player. If you look at their stats, they're similar to the same player. But the interesting thing is for them being the same type of player is that Christian McCaffrey was out for I think about 2 seasons. Hold up, was I set up and bring in our man? What's going on, CC? People's coach. What's going on, bro?
What's up with it?
What's going on? Not much. I was just getting in talking about some of I only went through the Thursday night game, but I was just talking about the New Orleans Saints and how Alvin Kamara hasn't been the player that we initially thought he was. That we thought he was going to get, especially coming off of a 3-game suspension, getting 3 games in and still having some, saying that energy, but he's not that person, and how him and Christian McCaffrey are actually the same player when you look at their stats. But of course, you take in consideration Christian McCaffrey was out 2 or 3 seasons because of injury, and they have the same numbers. So I guess when you look at it, a little bit different.
My personal opinion on that is injuries, man. That's the Saints' problem. They 2 best players were supposed to be their best players, Kamara and Michael Thomas. They've been injured too much. I think the injuries, you can definitely see that it's taken them a long time to really get going. and that's plagued him. Like Christian McCaffrey been lucky that his injuries haven't taken a toll on him like that yet. Like they haven't affected him enough. But you see it with them. You also see it with their quarterback, Derek Carr. The injuries, man. Like I'm talking overtime injuries, not just this season, but injuries from prior seasons. That's to me, that's the problem right there. That's why Kamara hasn't been able to. Because Kamara was cooking a few years ago
Correct.
before the
Yeah.
injuries. Before
Like
the
he was
injuries,
like he was like if you was a fantasy football person, if you missed on McCaffrey and got Kamara, you was still good. You was in there. Like
yeah.
they was the
And
same people.
also, you got to keep in mind, Sean Payton ain't there no more. The coach that brought him in, man, like different offensive styles, different whatever. But for me, it's the injuries. When I watched this last game against the Vikings, definitely you could tell Kamara not running. He's not running with the same speed he once had. He's not running with the same power. He can still hit the holes, and he's still shifty a little bit. But you see him in open space. He getting tackled in open space now. That never used to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the injuries just took their toll.
Of course, Derek Carr was 1 to 10 before exiting the game. Jamal Williams 4 for 7, and Taysom Hill 1 for 6. From the receiving efforts, Chris Olave 6 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. A.T. Perry contributed with 2 receptions, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. Alvin Kamara 7 receptions, 33 yards. That's what we're accustomed to. That type of the receiving out the back, although 33 yards off of 7 isn't that bad. Almost 5 yards of reception. Rashid Shaheed 5 for 24. Taysom Hill was 2 for 17. Lynn Bowden 1 for 12, and then Michael Thomas 1 for 9. You just mentioned that name, Michael Thomas, as like you said, one of their top players. Now that Drew Brees is gone, especially from an offensive perspective. Do you think the arrest from last week might have had something to do with the regression, like he wasn't in it, or do you just think possibly that Minnesota's defense did what they had to do and cover Mike Thomas, and just didn't allow him to get off?
Well, like I said, I seen most of that game, and one is not getting. He got a few targets. One is his targets. Two, it's he not there, man. He not the same Michael Thomas. It's like he missing a step. Um, he used to run routes crisp. He not running the. He not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know if I think he might have rushed back. I know he's been out a long time, and you say, man, he's been out a long, but I think he might have rushed back. He might want to heal up all the way, and then give it a go, give it one last good effort out there because right now he not thumping on all cylinders.
All right, you just said 2 targets. Of course, same thing. 2 targets on the day. 1 reception out of those 2 targets. So it could be like you said, he's just not there, and so he's not able to make the moves to get open, put himself in. Like we got to take in consideration, Michael Thomas is removed for what 3 or 4 years from having the reception leader and not having almost virtually not having a single drop to now he's not getting any looks. He's not, saying he's not huge. Murray says Derek Carr is just a guy. I mean, I still, which I was going to ask the question, but I was going to wait until we got to Oakland. To the Las Vegas ask it. I don't see what the hoopla was about Derek Carr. And I would be honest, some of the reason in which I said New Orleans was going to probably win the division is because they added Derek Carr. But I was thinking about they had Chris Olave, they had Michael Thomas, they had Alvin Kamara, and they had a defense that not the greatest, but that can hold some water. But then I still wonder, like, what was the whole thing about Derek Carr? Like at this point, would Jimmy Garoppolo have been better in New Orleans than Derek staying in Las Vegas? Hindsight, I don't know. We ain't got to answer that right
No.
now, but we'll get to it when we get to Vegas. When we get to the Vegas Raiders, we'll visit that because at this point, Jimmy's bench. Minnesota's Joshua Dobbs. Now that's a quarterback we probably need to be talking about. Joshua Dobbs has been through 5 organizations in 2 years. He started for 5 organizations in 2 years, which means he was getting picked up to be the backup quarterback and then got instituted into the organization. and now saying he's making strides. He was doing all right in Arizona, but they wasn't able to hold late games. Now Kyler Murray's back in Arizona, so of course that made Joshua expendable for a little price. But Joshua pulled up to Minnesota, got in the offense when he wasn't supposed to, and now he's the starter. 23 for 34, 268 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 sack for 5 yards. Ty Shandler rushed the ball 15 times for 45 yards and a touchdown. Alexander Madison contributed with 8 carries for 27. Joshua contributed with 8 carries for 44 yards plus a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson was cooking. TJ Hawkinson is the reason I lost one of my fantasy games this week. 11 receptions for 134 yards, 1 touchdown. The reason why he's a $15 million tight end, I'm sure, setting back Jordan Addison, who contributed with 4 receptions for 69. Brandon Powell, 4 for 35. Jalen Naylor was 1 for 16, and Johnny McMunt was 2 for 8. As the Minnesota Vikings continue to be relevant, and they ain't got Justin Jefferson. What do you say about that, CC?
I say when they get Justin Jefferson, they're gonna be a force. And the Detroit Lions can't have no slips right now, because Minnesota's defense sucked early in the season. Like I said, I'm in this area where I get those games.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, that's the main conversation, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. Dobbs came in and he played unbelievable for what he's doing. But when they get Justin Jefferson back, they're gonna be a force with Dobbs being able to move in the pocket the way he's moving. Hawkinson coming on strong like that, man. But what I really see for the Vikings is the defense. They early on that defense was garbage. Now it's playing pretty good. I know you say they playing against the Saints, but Derek Carr went out of that game. What's his name? Jameis Winston came in and played all right for a minute until he turned back into Jameis Winston with the interceptions. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like Jameis Winston, Jameis Winston was dropping. He was dropping straight dimes out there until all of a sudden he just turned back into like one bad pass. But I can say this about Dobbs, man. Dobbs is a football player, no matter what they say. I'm not even sure if he know the full offense, but he learned something with Hawkinson. Number 3, what's his name, Addison,
Addison.
and he using his legs. I think everybody gonna catch up to Dobbs eventually. I think that nobody really did homework on him, or film, or study, or because his legs are different. Like you can definitely tell the defenses didn't expect the speed. Now the Saints did turn up that defense in the second half though, Trey, and kept like they didn't give up but like 3 points in the second half. I think it was 24-3 at halftime, so they didn't give up but like 3 points in the second half. That defense, um, you know,
So
but the Saints just waited too late.
let me make sure we can get this, or anyone that's out there watching or going to see this. So what you're basically sound like you're telling me, and I don't know if Eric, where you at, Eric, or Zach Styles, MA, because I know y'all Philadelphia, I mean not Philadelphia, Minnesota fans, as well as my man's Reed. So what you're saying, let's make sure we're clear, is Dobbs should be the starter and not Kirk Cousins when he's healthy. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we know Kirk Cousins probably gone after this year anyway, man. Because I don't know if they want to pay him. They got to pay Kirk again. I don't think they want to pay him all that money. You can get Dobbs and then still get you a quarterback to develop in the long run. You know what I'm saying? But I think Dobbs making a strong case that he should be the starter. But you got to see the season play out. You know. They look like they gonna make a playoff push. They 6-4. Like where did they come from? They 6-4, but it's a team
Really?
effort.
Yeah.
It's a team effort that they're doing out there. Dobbs doing his part, but if you just see the excitement, I don't know if you saw the games
No, I
this
didn't get
past
a chance
week,
to see it.
but if you see the coach is even impressed with this Dobbs, man. Like the coach is like so happy. The coach was frowned up, McConnell or whatever. The games I saw before, he was all frowned up, like they struggling to win. But with Dobbs, he see that confidence and he can't believe it, man. Like he can't believe that they got an actual chance. Like I said, they 2 games out of that. Behind Detroit, and they played Detroit twice, so that's gonna be a deciding factor. But at minimum, they looking at least a 6 or 7 playoff spot because it's only like what 7 good teams in the NFC,
Yeah.
and they one of them. They one of them.
You know what? I will. I'm still the jury's still out. I still believe that that's Detroit's division, but well, you can't deny the fact that they're making moves. So I, we're gonna see. I'm not sure because if you like you just said, if we even though I don't have it right here in front of me, but just going off of the fact that you like we said 6-4. Currently, New Orleans is up front in their division, 5-5. San Francisco is ahead of Seattle currently. Philadelphia is up there. So those are I think the division. Well, Detroit's the division champion, leads the division. Their division, correct?
Right.
And so after that, you got Dallas, um, Seattle.
Seattle and Minnesota.
Okay, you might be, yeah.
Everybody else like 4-5 or something after that, after the 6-4 Vikings. So you look at the 17s right there, pretty much. If they just hold out, like if those teams win out, well, projected they win enough games, that's the playoffs right there.
Correct. So move on to the next squad, right? Next game. Pittsburgh, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow against the green and gold. Green Bay and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Green Bay not looking too hot, but that was expected, of course, with them having to go through a rebuild with a new quarterback, a franchise quarterback at the helm, although he's been there, 2 or 3 years, versus the successful Mike Tomlin in the States. Pittsburgh currently continues to get the wins. I know last week you was like, how does Pittsburgh continue? And yet again, Pittsburgh does it again. It continues to do that thing. Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers, 21 for 40, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, but it goes along with 2 interceptions as well as 1 sack. A.J. Dillon toted the rock 9 times for 70 yards. Aaron Jones still trying to get back. 13 carries for 35 yards. Come on, I need you, AJ. I need you, bro. Jordan Love was 2 for 11 in carries. Jaden Reed led the receiving core, 5 receptions for 84 yards with a touchdown. Luke Musgrave from the tight end position was 2 for 64. Tavius Beyond Woods was 3 for 51. Romeo Dobbs contributed 3 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown. I guess sitting behind Rodgers didn't do so. You know what, Anthony? I won't let Cornelius answer and respond. I'm very sure he has something for that. Give me a second. We're gonna get to that, Anthony. Christian Watson 2 for 23. Aaron Jones 4 receptions for 19 yards. AJ Dillon was 1 for 11. When you go to the opposite side of the spectrum, Kenny Pickett. I don't know. Kenny Pickett 126. 1 sack, 7 yards. That's all we can say about Kenny Pickett. And he's the only quarterback that played. Jalen Warren, however, Najee Harris. Najee. Watch your back. Jalen Warren, 15 carries for 101 yards plus a touchdown. Najee Harris did contribute 16 carries, 1 more carry than Warren, but 21 yards less, 82 yards on the night, and a touchdown, obviously. Kenny Pickett was 4 for 16 in rushing, and then last but not least, Calvin Austin carried the ball once for 6 yards. George Pickens contribute and led the receiving corps with 3 receptions for 45 yards. Connor Hayward 3 for 32. Deontay Johnson 1 for 17 after coming off his first touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger had been on the squad. Najee Harris was 3 for 14. Jalen was 2 for 9, and Darnell Washington and Calvin Austin 1 reception apiece, respectively 6 yards for Darnell Washington and 3 for Calvin Austin. What do you have to say in reference to Anthony's comment about Rodgers and Love sitting behind him, CZ?
Man, love. I remember I picked Green Bay to win that division, man. I had to give up, especially after watching, seeing some of this game. It's not just love though. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's LaFleur. It's the whole squad. But Jordan Love just can't get it done. Like they've had a chance to win. They even had a chance to win that game. They had the ball last. You get the ball last every week. You see the same thing. Green Bay Packers defense keep them in the game enough to try to win a game, and the offense just can't deliver. Jordan Love either throwing interceptions, he either overthrowing players. But in that game, it was some key drops. I can't put it all on Jordan Love. There was some drops in that game. Pittsburgh defense was a little bit better. at certain points in the game. But Jordan Love, man, they got him playing like they try to have him play like Aaron Rodgers. I think that's the problem. I think if they run simpler routes, like you, not to get ahead of things, but you see how the Texans doing. The Texans running 2-man routes to help their young quarterback out. They keeping everybody in max protected, running 2-man routes. You got TJ Watt on the other side of the ball, and you're not even blocking, you're not even chipping them, you're not blocking them. You're just saying Jordan go make a play like he Aaron Rodgers. It's like it's not gonna work. That's why they keep coming up short week after week after week. And that defense played pretty good, except for early in the game. Like they tightened up, but the first two drives, Pittsburgh scored on the first two. When you seen Pittsburgh ain't done that all year. That's why my post. That's why my post was only the Packers would give up those kind of yards early on in a game to the Pittsburgh Steelers who have problems. And no imagination on defense. They didn't pressure Kenny Pickett hardly at all in that game. It was like, dude, this dude can't, this dude can't handle pressure, and y'all don't even pressure him. Like, but Pickett didn't even have a big game. Like, he didn't even throw much. But that just says Mike Tomlin knows what he's working with, and he understands how to win games. Run the ball and defense.
And like you said, Mike Tomlin, it going on what 15, 16, 17 years in having consecutive win seasons. Like he's showing he knows how to win in state, like you just said, working with what he has for the most part. So what do you think about the situation? Like we was just talking about with the whole the fact that Najee Harris and Jalen Warren.
It's like I told you the last time. If I'm them, I keep them both running. I like Warren. I think Warren's the better running back. Uh, Najee Harris, I mean, he had several years to prove himself, and he just really ain't proved himself. But I feel like it might be that Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard effect. Where Najee Harris doing a lot of the grunt work, not picking up a lot of yards, and then Jalen comes in, and then he just, he flashy. Warren come in, he hit a little bit more. Once the defense a little bit softened up or something, like he don't need a big hole. Like he can make moves. I mean, he making plays. What's up with it? But yeah,
We
you know,
talking about you, Eric. Welcome to the show. Glad to have your information with us this morning. But like you said, that's is exactly that. Like, what is it that in which they're I mean, what can you say in state? It's the thunder and ice. I mean, the lightning and thunder aspect of it, like you said, what you had with Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard, what we've seen in other offenses, and now this is what it is. But it seems like Jalen is pushing, in my opinion, he's pushing Najee Harris to where we already know how running backs aren't that much of a premium. Now we're basically seeing where is being put in position to where maybe they might have to make a decision, because I'm very sure Najee, I think next year is a contract year for him.
we know
I
how
think
Pittsburgh does. We know Pittsburgh don't really pay people trade, so we already know how that's gonna go. Next man up in Pittsburgh.
that. So, like I said, with the win, the Pittsburgh Steelers go 6-3 in the on the year. Green Bay drops down to 3-8 in a division that they're already going to be struggling in, where you basically between seem like it's going to be between Detroit and Minnesota in that division going forth, because I don't see Green Bay turning that around, and nor do I see Chicago getting it in.
We know
Speaking of
Chicago not doing
speaking of the Lions, they were able to pull out a stunner as they were able to defeat the struggling Los Angeles Chargers.
anything.
I said it's going to be the Vikings. Ravens won't win the division. I don't
Whoa,
know, Anthony. I don't know.
whoa.
Anthony. We gonna
He
get
might
to
be
that.
right, man. I mean, Cleveland looking tough right now in that division.
Well,
Cleveland looking
wait.
tough.
Let's go there. Anthony, you introduced you to the conversation, so we gonna talk about it. Cleveland was able to enact what they needed to do. Currently Cleveland 6-3, taking the lead, getting the dub over Baltimore, who is now 7-3. But Cleveland won the game 33-31. Deshaun Watson, 20 for 34, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Lamar Jackson was 13 for 23, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Both of them were sacked. Lamar was sacked 3 times, lost 23 yards. Deshaun 4 for 18. Jerome Ford, 17 carries for 107 yards. Deshaun contributed with 8 carries for 37. Kareem Hunt picked up 10 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. However, Lamar Jackson carried the rock 8 times, 41 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 3 carries for 34 yards plus a touchdown. Gus Edwards taking care of what he needed to do, 11 carries, 24 yards, but in state, he scored. That's what you need. Just to say, it was 2 carries for 7 yards. Amari Cooper, 6 receptions, 98 yards, no touchdowns. However, Elijah Moore was 5 for 44 with a touchdown. David Njoku, 7 receptions, 58 yards. And after that, it's very dismal. It was Jerome Ford, 1 reception. Harrison Bryant, 1 reception. Jordan Atkins, 1 reception. Zay Flowers, currently picked up on domestic violence charges. Just yesterday, 5 receptions for 73 yards. Mark Andrews was 2 for 44. Odell Beckham, 1 reception for 40 yards, but a touchdown. Keaton Mitchell was 1 for 32, and Rashawn Bateman 2 for 25. With numbers like that, that's how Cleveland is in the mix. Would you agree, CC?
Yeah, but they defense is
Yeah,
like that say right there. They defense is for real right now. The defense is that pick, that interception late in the game. Um, Lamar Jackson throwing. The ball was tipped, but that interception changed the whole game. But I like to see the Ravens when they get leads do something different. Like like we know they got a little bit of a running game, but the Ravens can't sit on leads. Like the games they lost this year, teams coming back on them. Lamar is and Lamar's numbers don't really show his impact on the game sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like Lamar got to go out there and close games. But I don't understand. I don't understand. Like the Ravens, we talk about the Cleveland defense. The Ravens defense was doing well to get them off to a big lead, like they was, and they were sitting on Cleveland. But then you start making crazy decisions. It's like, why you throwing the ball late in the fourth quarter anyway to throw a pick six? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
doing that? You got nothing else to prove. You winning the game, and your quarterback can run, and you got like running backs that can run. Like why you ain't running like a reverse? Why you ain't practicing those stuff? Why is there no reverses going to Odell Beckham or something in those situations? Why you ain't prepping? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then punt the ball. What's wrong with punts? I mean, that's my problem with the Ravens is that they get too cocky in certain games, and it's like you doing stuff you don't even have to do. You can close this game out. They was up by 10 or whatever, 15 or whatever going into the fourth quarter, whatever the score was. They was up, and they could have won that game, Trey. But that's gonna be their problem. I think whoever said it was right. I think Anthony was right that the Ravens might not win the division because of stuff like that. Like they letting games slip away. They let that game slip away when they should have won that game.
Well, Anthony feels that you can't win the game with with Lamar throwing the ball. He's like,
Well, that was my thing. At the end of the game, why are you throwing it? I didn't even understand that. Like you got Gus Edwards, you got all this, like you can run the ball. Lamar can run the ball late in the game. Like you're supposed to be trying to eat up the clock, put the game out of reach. I agree in certain circumstances. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Lamar is one of the better passers in the game when he has to pass. But in
mm-hmm.
situations where you don't have to pass, I mean, Lamar said it himself after the game. Like the thing that changed the game was that tip pass, that interception. But why was he throwing it? He should have just, sometimes I think the players gotta like you on the field, the coach on the sideline. Regardless of what the coach calls, sometimes improvise. You know what I'm saying? Make the plays. Which I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Hopefully, you ain't talking about my Cowboys because that's one of the things.
No, we ain't
Because I
talking
was gonna
about
say
it yet.
that's one of the things that separate Dak from the better quarterbacks in the league is that you got the ultimate control out there on the field, and you make like we should never have time clock issues if you out there and you're an 8-year vet. That's all I want to say about that. Going back to the Philly game, we should never have those issues.
So, not Philadelphia, Indianapolis, the Colts, New England. Do you think it was a sense to where Indianapolis is just better than the Colts, or I mean, than the Patriots, or the Patriots is just that bad?
Man, I woke up early to watch that game. Like I should have stayed asleep. Um, that game was nothing. It had nothing to do with the Colts. It had nothing to do with the New England Patriots. I take nothing away from those players, but it's just actually, in my opinion, two sorry teams playing against each other, but one just a little bit. Mac Jones, I don't know. I think I think Bill Belichick has killed Mac Jones' spirit, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like Mac Jones looked like he was a better quarterback in his rookie year. His first 2 seasons, he looked like he was a better quarterback than what he is right now. He threw an interception uh uh months ago. I saw this little thing. I think it was Rex Ryan on ESPN. He called him P Shooter Jones.
Uh huh.
If you see that interception that he threw, where they had a chance to go and score the game winning touchdown or potentially the game winning touchdown, you see the interception that he threw at the goal line. Like, yeah, I see why Rex Ryan called him P Shooter Jones. Like, the ball was nowhere close. Don't even know what he was doing. Like his receiver, the tight end was wide open. The dude was wide open. I don't understand Mac Jones, but benching him for Bailey Zappi in a 2 minute drill, like that shows you where Bill mind at. Bill just ain't thinking clear neither. Like the Patriots, it's time for Bill to go. I hate to say it, man. I like Bill. Like I've liked Bill. I defend Bill when everybody's saying it was Tom Brady. You can't build a dynasty. I mean, who drafted Tom Brady? Who gave Tom Brady a shot? So I say it's Bill. And I think Bill trying to do it. I think he was trying to do it again with a Mac Jones prove. I think that's Bill's problem is that he was trying to prove he can make another Tom Brady when he should be trying to say that, hey, I'm trying to figure out ways for the Patriots to win games. You know what I mean?
So, do you what? So, what do you say for Gardner Minshew? Like, do you think he's going to be the saving grace is going to possibly put the Colts in position to still be there, if even if not make it? They're 500 at this point. Anthony Richardson presumably may not come back. I wouldn't even bring Anthony Richardson back at this point, so that way you can preserve him and let him get ready. But of course, I'm not the GM or the coach or the staff. Do you think Gardner Minshew has what it takes to at least get them into playoffs?
Well, we see Gardner Minshew. You got to remember Gardner Minshew. Did he go to like the AFC Championship game? Like
Yes, he did.
when he with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so he nothing to sneeze at. I mean, you got a good backup. I think he can. I think he can keep them. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs because I just think there's too many teams over there in the AFC that are good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like in order for the Colts, you got to think about this. In order for the Colts to really make a push, they not only got to get in the race with Jacksonville and the Texans, which are a surprise, but they got to go over, the Bills. You got to go. You got to go over some Cincinnati, who's sitting on the outside looking in right now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just, but I think Minshew can keep them competitive.
Hmm.
Minshew and Jonathan Taylor. They got a couple of good running backs, man, and and the Colts are another team whose defense seems to keep them in every game. Surprisingly, too, with that defense, because I don't know a single name on that defense other than Buckner. You know,
And that's what, like you say, and that's what tends to keep them around. But of course, like I said, 5-5 currently for the Colts. Anthony Price was basically saying Mac Jones is playing for the Colts. Jones is not for the QB. Eric stated that it's just horrible. The Patriots are just
yeah.
horrible. You stated talking about Bill Belichick. It's probably time for him to go. Bill Belichick is like the Popovich of the NFL at this point. But I mean, Popovich is only popping right now, so maybe sometimes that having that new player to reinvigorate your schemes is what you need. As we see what Victor Wembanyama is doing over in San Antonio. Anthony Price said, if you was the New England head coach, do you rebuild with the quarterback you have now, or do you draft the quarterback?
No, this is. I'm gonna put this out there, and I'm gonna leave it like this. per se. I don't know where New England's gonna finish, but if they finish where they can get one of those top quarterbacks, I think it's about three of them coming out that you could really legitimately look at, maybe four. Then you go through the draft. But
Mm-hmm.
really and truly, if Justin Fields was on that team, that's a different team because then the pressure's off to pass. You know what I mean? He can do more with his legs. He can make plays. I think you start looking at stuff like that. Like Justin Fields won't be a Chicago Bear this next season coming
Mm-hmm.
up because we see what the Bears trying to do. The Bears trying to put themselves and they got Carolina's pick, so the Bears trying to put themselves in position to get another quarterback. I'm not saying that if the Patriots, you should tank now and try to get you a quarterback in the draft, but you're not going to get Caleb Williams. You're not going to get Drake May. So who do you get? I would go with Justin Fields. I would put Justin Fields on that team because then you can probably get away with those mediocre receivers, or you put yourself in position to get Marvin Harrison Jr. and
Mm.
and then like I said, and then you get a quarterback like a Justin Fields who probably gonna be dropped. You know what I'm
You think Justin Fields is going to be
saying?
dropped? You think Justin Fields is that person now where he's going to be another player that gets dropped and he goes somewhere and becomes better?
I think. Well, I'm not gonna say he's gonna become better. He's gonna become what he was meant to be, Trey. And he hasn't been able to do that in Chicago. I'm just saying, like I think, man, for sure. Okay, I put it out there like this.
And on Justin though, you think Justin's the
If
Justin? I wish Mike was on here. Mike Hughes, my man, Mike Hughes. Uh, you think Justin is Justin, or you think it's the lack of Chicago's ability to utilize Justin?
I think it's all of it. I think it's Justin in his own way. I think it's
Mhm.
Justin trying to adjust to too many. Like if he just had to go out there and play football, man, I think he'll go out there and he'll play better. But you keep switching up the coaches, the offensive coordinators. You keep switching up stuff. Not only that, nothing's been consistent since he's been there in Chicago, other than losing, other than taking L's. That's the only thing that's been consistent. You know what I mean? So it's like put him somewhere. I think that Justin would play better. The reason why I say send him over there to New England is because we know how New England want to win, and we saw what New England was doing with Cam Newton. They was
Mhm.
gonna be pretty good. And if Cam Newton didn't have the COVID thing, they probably would have made the playoffs that year. Let's just keep it real. Like they probably wouldn't have won a Super Bowl or anything, but they were playing all right with Cam. So I think you get Justin over there. He got a better arm, and like I said, he can scramble and make some plays in that dead offense that's not doing anything. But that's why I say if I'm New England, I go after Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't even go after a quarterback because a quarterback gonna fall into your lap. Like a free agent quarterback gonna fall into your lap.
So what I always thought about was the fact that I thought Cam wasn't good for the New England offense. I didn't think like they basically ran Cam. That's all they did. That was let's put them in position, let's run Cam. So I don't know, but I mean you will see. I guess something new is always a good thing. So we'll basically see how that goes.
But now
Moving
they got
on.
they got Bill O'Brien now, and so like
Correct.
so they got a little bit better offensive coordinator. That's why I'm like Mac Jones looking like that with Bill O'Brien, man. Come on. And we seen what
So
he did with Deshaun Watson. And, you know what I'm saying? His previous quarterback.
I got you. I can see how that could work. So what's to be said about the Tennessee Titans as they took on Tampa Bay and fell to Tampa Bay 20-6. Baker Mayfield was 18 for 29, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception with 3 sacks on the night versus Tennessee. Rashad White carried the ball 20 times for 51 yards. Trace Edmonds gave 4 for 9. Even Baker Mayfield contributed with 3 for 12. Mike Evans, 6 receptions for 143 yards and a touchdown. Chris Godwin was 4 for 54. And Rashad White contributed with 2 for 47 on night. Trey Palmer, 2 for 21. And Cade Auden was 2 for 10. Um, Will Levis, you talk about Will Levis, 199 yards, 1 interception, 4 sacks for 32 yards. Derrick Henry, 11 yards for 24, 11 carries for 24 yards, and Tajay Spears was 5 for 18. And last but not least, of course, the receiving efforts. Kyle Phillips was 3 for 61. Tajay Spears 4 for 42. DeAndre Hopkins 3 for 27, as well as Equanimo was 3 for 27. Chris Morris 2 for 21, and last but not least, Josh Wiley was 2 receptions for 16 yards. In-state, no ball movement at all, and Tennessee falls to 6-36, 2 games after Will Levis got the start and showed out that first time. Not so much this time. Should we pack it in for Tennessee? Should Tennessee pack it in?
Oh yeah, Tennessee's done. Tennessee's done. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but but Jacksonville, Texans, and the Colts are better than Tennessee, way better than Tennessee right now. I don't know, like I thought Vrabel was a pretty good coach, but I see he just but he a one trick pony as they say. If he ain't got no running game, then he ain't got nothing. Like like they passing game is ridiculous. We can blame the coordinators because that's a part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is the head coach allowing them. You know what I'm saying? Like you, the head coach, you got a headset like everybody else. Hey man, open this thing up. Hey man,
Mm. Take
let me
over.
put
Basically, take
Spears.
over, right? Take over is like,
You
hey,
know,
I understand he's an
hey,
OC, but yeah, okay.
put Spears. You know, like I think they should let Spears touch the ball a little bit more sometimes because every team out there understands that Tennessee wants to run Derrick Henry. Hey Tennessee, everybody knows you want to run Derrick Henry. I mean, it's no secret, right? It's no secret. I mean, they not even running good play action passes off the fact that they can run Derrick Henry, man. Like the defense is still all right. Their problem is purely offensively. Offensively, Vrabel has no imagination. The coordinator ain't giving them nothing. I mean, I agree with all that. Like, I think Tennessee's done. Um, it might be time to move away from Vrabel because like they went from challenging for the crown to nothing now.
So would you say, and I see where Eric basically was making this point that Tennessee, the Titans probably is bad coordinators, that the team is better than what their record is. Do you think at this point that the league has caught up with Derrick Henry, or Derrick Henry is just, of course, Father Time is undefeated. He's just taking a step back. So do you think he still has something in the tank? He just needs to be recharged.
I think Derrick Henry got a little bit left in him. I mean, when you watch Tennessee play, man, it's like I said, there's no movement on offense, like no motion, no nothing. It's like DeAndre Hopkins line up pretty much in the same place every time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just so uh, simple. It's like no imagination to the offense at all. And on the defensive side of the ball too, same thing with the defensive side. If they don't get pressure, if the front four don't get pressure, then the linebackers and the secondary not picking them up. It's like, but Derek, I think if Derrick Henry would have went to another team at the trade deadline, you would see what he got.
Anthony said, "Have you seen Derrick Henry workouts? Workouts. It's the offensive coordinator. Uh, Predictable offense, like Eric said. It's so and that's just what it is. Like you just said, you don't move it as you were saying, as you was just talking about it. I was sitting up and thinking about the fact of how even like myself and Bishop coach NFL flag team, right? So this weekend we was able to win a championship, and so we'll be going down to Pflugersville to play in the state championship for the area, for the in the district area or whatever like that, the region. So, and I thought about, so I do offense, he does defense. Offensively, I tend to move our players around for the most part, or saying, pick and choose. It's 5-man, so it's a little bit different. But like you said, I thought about how predictable things can get when you line up in certain time frames and you just continue to line the player up continuously in certain areas and stuff like that. So it's I completely understand and get it. But I mean, sometimes you just have that player, it doesn't make a difference for it. It's coming, but it seems like everyone knows, like you just said, Derrick Henry's coming. It's like Derrick Henry's coming, Derrick Henry's coming, Derrick, and they'll say, and then everyone stop him.
Right.
Like Derrick Henry hasn't got off. Like Anthony says, true enough. You see his workouts. Yeah, we know Derrick Henry's a beast, but what has Derrick Henry done lately? Like I keep pulling the wool over my eye because I keep drafting him in fantasy, and saying
Right.
he's not getting off like
Exactly,
I like
Trey.
he used to.
Trey, you a San Francisco 49er fan. If everybody just knew that Christian McCaffrey was coming every single time, your offense wouldn't be effective. You got to worry about Debo. You got to worry about Ayuk. You got to worry about so many other things. So Christian McCaffrey can still get off. You know what I'm saying? And my biggest problem is Tennessee. They don't they don't pass the ball effectively to me because you want to run the ball. Everybody knows first and second down they want to run the ball like
Mhm.
every freaking time. Like it's predictable. Like Eric said or Anthony said, whoever said it, but it's predictable.
Eric,
The
yeah.
offense is too predictable. It's like you want to run it, and then on third down, you want to pass the ball. We know what's coming. We know what's coming. Like if we stop Derek early, then you got nothing else. If Vrabel don't make adjustments, that's what I'm saying. The head coach, he's not saying, hey, you know what? Let's open this thing up a bit. Let's throw the ball downfield some of the time. Maybe they'll get to that now that they what 3-6.
Yeah, 5-4, 3. Oh no, they're both 3-6. Yeah, they're at 3-6. So reason I said 5-4 because I had moved on to the next one I want to talk about. This holds a little bit of something for, of course, saying Cornelius, as he is a native Houstonian, but he doesn't cheer for the Texans. I could get it. I'm a saying even though Compton doesn't have a professional team, but the closest thing to Compton was the Los Angeles Raiders. But I've always been a San Francisco 49er fan. So I can understand that too, saying? Still in Texas, saying? Just different affiliation. But right now, CC, I think we can give you a pass if you wanted to go ahead and jump ship and jump over to Houston because D'Amico Ryans is doing some things over there just this weekend. Of course, what we wouldn't have thought to be the truth, especially with the rookie quarterback, and then facing the Cincinnati Bengals and the heralded Joe Burrow. What is going on? Joe Burrow, 27-40, 300. Like, this is the first. We done went over about 6 games. This is the first time we have said anything about a 300-yard quarterback. 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. However, 4 sacks that cost him 33 yards. Joe Mixon carried the ball 11 times for 46 yards with a touchdown. Burrow contributed with an average of 4 yards as he was 5 carries for 20 yards. Jamar Chase, 100-yard receiver, off of 5 receptions, 4 with a touchdown, off of 6 targets. Tyler Boyd, 8 receptions, 117. Trenton Irwin was 2 for 54 with the touchdown. Travion Williams was 1 for 2. Irv Smith, 1 for 6. Drew Sample, 1 for 12. Tanner Hudson, 6 for 33. As we know, we did not hear as T. Higgins, as he's going to be out. He's probably going to be out for a little bit. But when we go to the other side, them Texans, that star in the right eye on the blue background, CJ Stroud, 23 for 39, 300, yet again, another 300 quarterback, 356 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only 1 sack. Devin Singletary turned back the hands of time. 30 carries, workhorse, banged him Smurf. 150 yards, 1 touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson and Tank Dell contribute both with 1 carry of 17 and 13 respectively. Noah Brown, 7 yards, 172 yards off of 8 targets. Dalton Schultz getting his serve on, 4 receptions for 71 yards. Tank Dell, 6 for 56 and a touchdown. John Mechie III, back like he never left as he gets reincarnated and reinvigorated, set up in the offense after being out last year. 2 receptions for 25 yards. CC, these are not your old Houston Texans. You sure you ain't ready to go home, man?
No, look. Um, I like what the Texans are doing. They turning that thing around. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how quick they turn it around. But Stroud is rookie of the year.
Y'all
Um,
stop playing with my man Puka.
and actually, I think if they, like if they finish somewhere 10-7 or something
Uh-huh.
like that, 11-6, he probably gonna be, 10-7 or better. He probably gonna be close MVP of the league. I mean, I said it already that CJ Stroud was the best pick in the draft. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it went back to um, that that playoff game that they lost or whatever in college. I was in Columbus at the time when so I was watching that game in a sports bar in Columbus. But they didn't lose because Stroud didn't put them in position. Remember, they missed the field goal, late field goal or whatever.
Yeah,
But
they should
but
have went
West
for it. They
Stroud
played with it.
yeah, but what Stroud did to get them in position anyway to kick that field goal was impressive. Uh, I just thought he was a better pick over Bryce Young. I mean, I know Bryce Young got different circumstances, but I'm liking what they doing. They defense not all the way that good because, and then we got to keep this in mind. They won that game. I mean, in order to be good like that, sometimes you got to have some luck, right? Because
Hmm.
Tyler Boyd did drop that touchdown, the game winning touchdown in the end zone, man. I mean, wide open. I mean, so you can't blame that loss on Joe Burrow specifically. You just got to talk that one up to Cincinnati, man. Like, like the Mad Dash, and you got to give the Texans, you got to say, hey, D'Amico Ryans and the Texans, they doing their thing I mean, 2 weeks in a row, game winning drive. One was a touchdown. Remember the week before he threw a touchdown. This time, just get him in field goal range. So
Hmm.
CJ Stroud. But look at what he's doing. The accuracy. I mean, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, star quarterbacks don't have that, right?
He's definitely doing what he needs to do, and you're not far off where you're saying the fact that he could potentially be the rookie of the year due to the transgressions and unfortunate situations in the Los Angeles Rams organization. Puka has kind of like Nakua has kind of like slowed down, but he has I think he's done enough to kind of like keep himself in the mix. But CJ Stroud is really making strides and is pushing him to where he potentially is going to walk away with that award if they can't get it right to get Puka back in to doing what he was doing when he first started at the beginning of the season. So I'm not. It's not off. CJ Stroud could potentially be that the recipient of that award. So I ask you this question, CC: if you was to take the two and flip, would we be talking about CJ Stroud if he was in Carolina?
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. I actually think Carolina would have won a few more games. They would still be under 500 because the team is, you know, I mean, but look at what Stroud is doing. Name. Did you expect uh Tank Dell to be doing what he's doing? Did you
Dale,
expect
hell,
Nico
even
Collins?
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins? No, here's the big one. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Noah Brown. Where was this at when he was with the Cowboys? Where was this Noah Brown at? I mean, was he, like, did he not get enough looks in Dallas? I mean, I'm just saying, like Noah Brown. I mean, just the team itself. So I think, yeah, but I think CJ Stroud came in to take the thing, man. I think he came in with a different mindset to win instead of learn. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna learn on the fly, but I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win as we go. I think he came in trying to win. I don't think he letting the pressure of the NFL get to him. Like the speed is a little bit different. You can definitely see it affects Bryce. Like I said, but Bryce throwing the Adam Thielen. This guy, like this guy make it, but Bryce had the same chance to make them other receivers around him too, but he's just not doing it. You know what I mean?
So imagine if Bryce didn't have Adam Thielen, because we gotta, I mean, take in consideration, even though Adam Thielen isn't like a household name, Adam Thielen can play. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's not shabby. So, you know what I'm saying? So he like that keeps him going. But imagine if Bryce was with player like had the Tank Dales and the Noah Browns, whereas people who basically if they wasn't doing anything, you probably wouldn't know who they were if you didn't pay attention to sports. It probably would be a lot worse over there. But
I
we'll
mean,
see.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, but if you put CJ Stroud over there with uh with the Panthers, he gonna ball. You know what I'm saying?
He says because he had Dak. Now he has CJ Stroud, better quarterback outcome.
Hey, that's a matter of opinion. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think the Cowboys had a lot of. I don't think they had a lot of stake or a lot of hope in Noah Brown. You know what I mean? But
So
I think he's given a chance. But like I said, CJ, man, CJ impressive. He's spreading that ball around. You know what I'm saying?
So going back to Detroit, like I said, Detroit was my pick to win their division. Currently 7-2, with the win over the Los Angeles Chargers, who are currently 4-5. Jared Goff, like people be slacking on Jared Goff. Let's take like Jared Goff may not be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but Jared Goff is a Super Bowl quarterback within the last 7 years. So people are they're sleeping on Goff. 23 for 33, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sack. People are sleeping on David Montgomery. 12 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Gibbs. They got a whole running back duo in Detroit. 14 carries for 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amon St. Brown carried twice for 9 yards, but he had 8 receptions for 156 yards and a touchdown. Khalif Raymond was 2 for 46. Sam Laporta, who at once probably would have been another player that had rookie of the year contention, 4 receptions for 40 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs contributed with 3 more receptions for 35 yards. Brock Wright, 2 for 23 and a touchdown. Jameson Williams was 2 for 18, and Josh Reynolds was 2 for 15. Now, I had high hopes in regard for Justin Herbert. I thought that Justin Herbert was the next quarterback up. But it just seems like he's not going back. I know when we gonna talk to CC, he's gonna probably say Staley is trash, and maybe what's his name should take over from OC and become the coach. But we're gonna find out when he speaks. Justin Herbert, 27 for 40, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, no sacks. Austin Eckler, 19 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown. Josh Kelly contributed with 16 yards off of 5 carries. Herbert even guided in 4 carries from 15 yards. Keenan Allen without his Batman with no Robin at this point. 11 receptions for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler contributed with 4 catches for 48 yards. Jaden Guyton was 4 for 41 with a touchdown. Quentin Johnson contributed 4 receptions, 34 yards with a touchdown off of the 4 targets. Donald Parham Jr., 2 receptions for 18 yards. And it kind of stopped there. Is that the reason why the Chargers are in the position they are right now, CC? Is it because Mike Williams is gone and there's no one that's currently filling that role?
Man, it's the coach. We just start with the game. They scored 38 points. Who don't win when they score 38 points? Who don't win when they score 38 points? I mean, Justin Herbert, he led 5 straight touchdown drives. I'm not gonna put that on Justin Herbert.
Okay.
At some point, it's the coach. It's the coach all the way around. Like, I don't even think the team want him anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think they want the coach anymore. I think they turned against him already. I think it's time. I mean, you got a high paid defense and they're not doing their job.
Correct.
I think they got the highest paid defense in the NFL right now.
Well,
they're Khalil Mack, Bosa, Irwin, what's his name? Derwin Jackson, whatever.
Jackson. So that Jackson, they're saying that the GM said he made a big mistake by bringing in Jackson, JC Jackson. He's like that's saying he's like that was his fault. He's like he forgive Asta or
the GM. You know what? I was just thinking this last night, Trey. The GM of the Chargers, he gonna get fired right along with the head coach if he don't pull the trigger on the head coach. They gonna both be packing their bags. Like, what are you waiting on? I mean, sometimes these GMs are so egotistical as like coaches and arrogant like coaches. Like, man, admit that you made a mistake with this coach. Your coach finally saying that he made a mistake. After the game, Staley finally took one and said, "Hey, that's my fault. My defense wasn't prepared." Your defense ain't been prepared all year. Like, how many times this year? I can count 3 times at least where they gave up like over 500 and some yards of offense. One defense giving up that many yards. They started off against the Dolphins like that. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing pretty much with the Cowboys, and then now you look at them against Detroit. It's like, yeah, the Chargers. I'm not defending Justin Herbert because sometimes you got to get the job done. in other games, but this particular game right here, man, that falls squarely on the head coach. Your head coach puts you in bad positions a lot of times. You got to overcome all that stuff. But I think if they change the coach, they'll be a better team.
So I agree. So you know what I'm saying, because we're starting to know Justin Herbert to be a gunslinger, and you know what I'm saying, put out there. I mean, he's the fastest to 10,000 yards for a young talent. Currently, I know Anthony said they don't have a big wide receiver. That big wide receiver was Mike Williams, and when Mike Williams was there, him and Keenan Allen, when Allen was there, was very a terrible twosome when it came down to it. But now Mike Williams is out for the season; he won't be back, and it's all on Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler isn't a bad back. So I would think they have weapons. Of course, like you said, initially we thought it was going to be a whole different type of ball game in the NFC West. I mean AFC West with Kansas City, the additions to what they got in Oakland, and what was going on at minimum with the Chargers. But we're starting to see it's a one team division, and everyone else is looking for scraps.
So here's my question. You want to talk about, okay, to answer that big wide receiver thing, what was their record when Mike Williams was playing? They were still sorry. They still wasn't winning. My point
So
is real simple.
He went out early.
Yeah, but my point is, and they already had a losing record when he went out. They was already on it. My point is real simple. Um, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the head coach. Like, get rid of the head coach, man. Like, and watch how much better that team is. You're talking about a head coach that goes for it on fourth down at his own 24-yard line. Like, he ain't trying to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get him out of there and bring in a guy that understands the talent that he got and figure out a way. Hey, that defense, he's supposed to be the coach of the defense. Like, your head coach is your defensive coordinator, basically. He the one calling the defense. And they getting cooked like that on the backside. So what does that tell you? Like, hey, he might want to either force him to hire a defensive coordinator outright or just fire him. Like I said, the GM going to be out of there with him if he keep on playing with this guy. For real.
So the next up game, of course, maybe the same game as what we had with the Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Arizona Cardinals. I thought Atlanta was going to be pushing New Orleans and maybe even Tampa Bay initially at the beginning of the season, but it's starting to seem like that's not going to be the case. The Atlanta Falcons, Taylor Heineke got the start, 8 for 15, 55 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 sacks for 24 yards. Desmond Ridder comes in 4 for 6, 39 yards, no touchdowns, no sacks. Collectively, 12 for 21 for 70 yards and a touchdown. Is Arizona's defense that good? Hell no. We're not going to even sit up and go there, but we'll get to it in a second. Kyler Murray, 19 for 32, 249, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 sacks for 19 yards in his debut coming back from his injury. Bijan Robinson, rookie sensation, drafted 22 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. Heineke contributed with 4 carries for 34 yards. Tyler Algier kind of a step back from where he was last week, 9 carries for 31 yards. Cordell Patterson contributed 3 for 13, and Ridder got 3 for 11 himself. James Conner, another coming back from an injury after being on IR, 16 carries for 73 yards. Kyler Murray carried the ball 6 times for 33 yards himself and a touchdown. Keontae Ingram was 2 carries for 2 yards. Tony Jones was 1 for 13. And then from the reception standpoint, Trey McBride for the Arizona Cardinals led the charge with 8 receptions for 131 yards. Rondell Moore was 5 for 43. Michael Wilson 3 for 34. And Marquise Brown was 1 for 28. Now, I don't know why a wide receiver is being out yardage by a tight end, but we're going to get to that in a second too. Drake London, for the Atlanta Falcons, received 3 receptions for 36 yards. Kyle Pitts was 3 for 30 himself. Bijan Robinson 1 for 11 yards. Tyler Algier with 1 for 7. Cordell Patterson, 2 receptions for 7 yards. Scott Miller, 1 for 2. And then Jonnu Smith, 1 for 1. In-state, Atlanta falls by 2 points to the Arizona Cardinals, 25-23. Cardinals dropped to 4-6. Cardinals improved to 2-8. What is going on in Arizona, first and foremost, CC, in your opinion?
Well, Kyler Murray came back. And he can win games. And we know he can win games with his legs. And we know he can extend plays. They got their best quarterback back in the building. Um, that like that's gonna help them out in the long run. And then again, they played against the Falcons, who's up and down this year. Even though they've been up and down, I think they only won game. They only one game behind the Saints. Like nobody pulling away in that division, so Atlanta still got a chance. But I thought them making the move to Taylor Heineke was gonna be the move to make.
For
But
real.
they're not. But they're not opening up the offense. They not. Like they basically keeping it. He threw 15 passes, so that tells you right there they don't trust that he can throw the ball. They don't. They don't trust. They don't trust that he can find the receivers downfield either. Like they had Desmond Ritter, and they didn't open up the offense. They're doing the same thing with Taylor Heineke. So
You think
um,
Arthur Smith should be fired?
no, I don't think he should be fired. Like I think he's gonna get another. I think he should get another chance. Actually, I think um, I think once he get the right quarterback in there, there'll be a quarterback he can trust. Obviously, you don't trust your quarterback when you're not letting them throw the ball all over the yard, man. Like when you watch a rookie throw the ball all over the yard, like C.J. Stroud playing crazy. Like when you watching Josh Dobbs come in and he get all access, like the head coach don't even know him, but they trust him to throw the ball, like the way he throwing the ball and stuff like that. I mean, he just got there. Step off the plane, they let you do that and you've been there a while in the system, you've been there since training camp, and they're not letting you throw the ball, they don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't trust you.
It's
So
but
that's
when
just
you
the problem.
and you and that's clearly and concisely because, like you said, he fit 15 and then only 55 yards. Like, are they not allowing him to push the ball down the field, or is it that he's not seeing what he needs to push the ball down the field? Like, what is the aspect? Like, what's going on in there during practices, and what is the conversation for the most part that's being talked about? We don't know, of course. At some point, we'll probably be. It'll come out eventually, like you said. Everyone was calling for Arthur Smith's head, but of course, it hasn't. It hasn't happened, or it's probably not going to happen. Like they say, they're going to probably allow him to continue there. Shout out my man BA, get your bars up media. Whether it's battle rap or sports, he got what you're gonna listen to. What's going on, Donovan? Detroit is going to be a problem, and they just added Bruce Irvin from linebacker. And then, of course, Anthony Price, just trade Kyle Pitts if you're not going to use him right. So, do you
That's
think
another thing. Go ahead.
with Kyle Pitts, do you think so? We know he was brought in from Florida, drafted, expected to be a game changer, just like Vernon Davis was expected to be a game changer. Do you think we get a little too presumptuous when we look at these tight ends that are actually better built to be wide receivers, uh, and we expect more from them, and they're giving what they can give?
I don't think. I agree. I don't think they're using him right. Like,
Okay.
like I mean, go back to like his rookie year. He had so much promise to be out there. And you say, man, look how good he looked when he touched the ball. Now he ain't getting touches. I mean, like you got to start running your offense, and then that's another thing. Like if quarterbacks want to earn the trust from the coaches, man, you got to start looking in the middle of the field and make those simple plays. What I see too much with these young quarterbacks right now is trying to make the most difficult throws. You know what I mean? Like you see Jordan Love trying to throw over the top like Aaron Rodgers trying to drop it right in. It's like that's not your game. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and you got two or three. He got two or three guys right in front of him wide open. It's like why not just throw it to them and see if they can make a play? I don't understand. But it's that trying to prove, and you see that with a lot of the young quarterbacks. Like when you look at Bryce Young, um, if it wasn't for Thielen, where would he be? Like you said, but at the same time, you got these other receivers out there, but you're trying to squeeze the ball to them. You're not looking at, like when these guys come across your face and they wide open, you late on the throw because you want to try to make this big throw downfield. You know what I mean? It's like give these guys a chance. Like if Kyle Pitts had the kind of offense. Heck, if Kyle Pitts was in the Patriots offense, he would be balling because Mac Jones need a tight end. Hunter Henry just not getting it done consistently. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But in any other offense, Kyle Pitts would probably be winning right now.
okay. Which I could get that. I could be that. It could be also I mean, they're young. Like Kyle Pitts is the oldest of the young players in which they got because he got drafted 2 years ago. Um, B. John Robinson is taking up, eating up balls from him as well as Algier. No different from Drake
Mhm.
London, who's also, saying, eating up. So Kyle Pitts is just getting swallowed up in what is now the weapons in which they have to try to get the ball to see who's going to be effective. And that's how I look at it and view it for the most part. What's going on? MEB, what's going on? Glad to have information with us this morning. Glad to see you tapping in. So going to Anthony's squad. So I have a little affinity for the Washington Commanders. I don't know if it's because I sit up and adore Magic Johnson and his endeavors
I was
as a
like,
business.
don't. Sorry, Magic. Sorry, but don't. Cowboy up all day. No, I'm just playing.
Washington Commanders just got edged out by the Seahawks by the score of 29-26. Geno Smith was 31 for 47, 369 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 sack. Donovan, stop playing. I know you did not say that with a straight face. Sam Howell was 29 for 44 for 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 sacks for 24 yards. Brian Robinson carried the ball 8 times for 38 yards. Sam was 2 for 17. Kenneth Walker third, 19 carries for 63 yards. Zach Charbonnet was 6 for 44. Brian Robinson, however, 6 receptions, 119 yards with a touchdown. Antonio Gibson was 5 receptions for 42 yards and a touchdown. And De'Ami Brown was 241 for 41 yards, was 2 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. Logan Thomas 5 for 40 on the receiving. John Bates 3 for 21, and Terry McLaurin was 4 for 33. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we had a DK Metcalf signing as he was 7 receptions for 78 yards, getting done what he needed to get done. Tyler Lockett, another sighting, 8 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker the third, 1 reception, 64 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 4 for 53. Will Disley's back in the fray, 2 for 22. And Charbonnet, 4 for 18. Seattle Seahawks, 6-3 on the season so far. Keeping pace with the 49ers, especially since San Francisco had that 3-game slid, keeping Seattle's relevant. Do you think Seattle has what it takes, what they need to win the West?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna win the West because um, have have you guys played yet? I don't think you guys
No,
really
we haven't played
know.
yet.
You know,
Nah,
y'all got 2 games. They got 2 games against the 49ers. So that's gonna decide that division right there. But I think they got what it takes. Their defense plays pretty good most of the time. My only problem with them is I like Gino. I like what he's doing. I like the way he resurrected his career and all that, man. But the fear factor of Gino when the rush is coming, like he a different quarterback. But now I'm starting to see him stand in the pocket a little bit more over the last couple of weeks, maybe. But at the same time, you still can't trust that in a big game situation. Um, but yeah, I think Seattle. Um, I think Seattle gonna be right there. And plus it's Pete Carroll. Like Pete Carroll got a championship. Like he been to a couple of Super Bowls, so you can't count them out. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he found something that's working for him. I like that. I like the running back that they got too. Um, I can't remember his name right offhand, but I like that. I like the running back.
Kenneth Walker.
uh, yeah, Walker. He runs really hard. Kenneth Walker. He runs hard. Um, Now on the other side of that thing, man, the Commanders. They've been a disappointment. Remember at the beginning of the season, even I was talking, hey, the NFC East, man, you might have 4 teams, you know what I'm saying, challenging for the playoffs. Well, we saw what happened with the Giants. They not there. And now look at the Commanders. Like I said this
So
last time I was on the show, it's time for Riverboat Ron to go. It's time to he out of there. It's time for him to go. Um, I'm not sure if you go Eric Bieniemy right now, but it's time to get rid of Riverboat Ron. He just ain't getting it done. Um, Sam Howell looking good. Your quarterback has been the only thing that's looking good to me. You know, McLaurin.
I would say Curtis Samuel too.
Well, Curtis Samuel looking all right, but it's like McLaurin underperforming. Your whole
Yeah,
squad, you got a lot of people underperforming.
Dotson,
Um, you know, like but I like the running back, Robinson every now
Robinson.
and then. You know, like he playing a little bit here and there, but I'm saying that consistently, that team is consistently showing you that they garbage under Ron Rivera, and then you traded your best defensive player. You see,
Sweat
the
and
49ers are like the 49ers are like, thank you for giving us Chase Young for nothing. I mean, you know what I mean? Because you got nothing in return, like a draft pick or something. I don't even know what you got for
third
that
round.
guy. But it's like I just don't see the Commanders. They hurt themselves for this year and next year, in my opinion. The longer they wait to get rid of Ron Rivera.
So Donovan said here and said he wants Shador Sanders in Pittsburgh next year because he says that
Whoa.
it's trash and done with him, even though they're 6-3 and not none of those wins are because of him. I don't think Shador Sanders is the trade-off.
Um, I can see Shador's not Pittsburgh.
Not
Because when you
Pittsburgh.
think Pittsburgh, because when you think Pittsburgh ain't never had a quarterback like that. You know, the closest they came to it was using Cordell Stewart as slash. Remember, but he
Yeah.
wasn't like always the starting quarterback. But Pittsburgh traditionally, it's a tradition with Pittsburgh. They normally go on with a blue collar type quarterback. They go in with like, and they're not
Big
a
arm.
flashy team. They're not a
Mhm.
flashy team. You saw when AB started popping flash and doing bringing the modern world into the locker room, he was out of there. You know what I mean? Like that's just not their style. Under Tomlin, Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I think you got to go a more traditional quarterback for them, which is more what Pickett is. Pickett like a throwback quarterback. Like the Terry Bradshaws who didn't really have to do much to win 4 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Um, the Ben Roethlisbergers who just got to manage a game here and there, but can get off every now and then. I mean, I think they got their quarterback that they want with Pickett. I would be surprised if they made a move in the draft or try to get a Shadur Sanders. I think they like the fact that, and then you got to think that he a hometown guy. You got to keep that in mind. Pickett is a hometown guy, so the fanfare that goes along with that. He came from Pittsburgh, so you got to look at that. Like you got to look at that like that. Like I don't see that move. I mean, it would be a flashy move, but it would be uncharacteristic of a Mike Tomlin or a Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll be a stunner.
So now, of course, you got it. Like BA was saying, Gino is inconsistent each year. He holds onto the ball too long. You're starting to see that out of couple quarterbacks. But he said Commanders need a coach, preferably an offensive-minded coach. One, because Riverboat Ron, as you said, is not horrible, but he's not horrible on X's and O's. But it's not offense. He wasn't that guy. And then Anthony Price says the breaking news: Bills fired their offensive coordinator. Are we going to put that on? So I see a lot of where a lot of people believe, or where a couple of polls out there, Bleacher Report, a couple of other polls, that they think it was Josh Allen is the reason for the woes.
It
Would
is
you?
Josh Allen, but head coach is coming down, so that means McDermott not gonna be there. If they have a losing season this year, don't look for McDermott to probably be the place because when they get rid of when the head coach got to turn around and say I got to get rid of somebody, it's either you or me. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators usually go first. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like some heads got to roll, right? I mean, but it's purely Josh Allen. But you can blame it on the offensive coordinator because you're saying, man, you putting too much on his plate. They never run the football, man. It's like what what do you have to do? You got Latavius Murray. Um, in the past, they used to have what's his name running for Houston right now. Just had 150 yards. They had Devin Singletary at one while, didn't they? The
Yeah,
Bills. They've
yeah.
had all these good running backs. They got Cook. They got James Cook, who fumbles a lot. I mean, I can see why you don't trust him with the rock a whole lot. But I'm just saying. But they
They
don't
got
run the ball enough. You know what I mean? To at least make it look like, hey, we trying to run the ball. Like it's too
last
much
night.
pressure on Josh.
Last night, Josh Allen, 15 for 26, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. James Cook carried the ball 12 times, 109 yards rushing, but he did have 2 costly fumbles. One of them wasn't his fault, however. Josh Allen did not put the ball where it lost it before he even got it to him. Latavius Murray, like you just said, 9 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen had 4 carries for 13 yards and a touchdown. Gabriel Davis, 2 receptions for 56 yards. Dalton Kincaid was 5 for 51 with the touchdown. Khalil Shakir had 1 reception for 24. Stephon Diggs, 3 receptions for 34 yards. When you look at the other side, Russell Wilson was looking very, very Seattle-ish last night. 24 for 29, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams carried the ball 21 times for 79 yards. Russell Wilson carried it himself 9 for 30 yards. P. Ryan and McLaughlin had 7 carries amongst each other for a total of 16 yards. Cortland Sutton was 8 receptions for 50 yards with a touchdown. Javonte Williams,
one of the catches of the year, by the way, with that touchdown on Sutton. That was a great catch.
4 receptions, 31 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, then Samaje P. Ryan was the recipient of a couple of shovel passes, just a check down. 3 receptions, 35 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 35. He did have a key reception as he was hit in the pocket as he sat down and kept the drive alive. Adam Trotman, 2 for 15. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 1 for 14. And Chris Martinez was 1 for 6 last night. In-state, it all led down to the Denver Broncos winning, but it wasn't necessarily because of anything else, more because of a errant penalty as a pass interference was called on a I guess you could say, I ain't gonna say throw up, because I think Russ seen him. He put the ball out and let Jeudy do what he needed to do to draw the flag, put him in position. Then you had a bonehead play, not keeping track of how many players on the field. 12 players on the field, just as the as Lutz
and he missed the field goal. He missed.
Right. So it's like, again, they gave him another opportunity. Of course, he comes back and does what he needs to do, giving him the game 24-22. Buffalo falls to 5-5. Denver now 4-5, just 1 game under 500. With still some games to play. Maybe can Denver turn it around and be a force? I don't know. We'll see. But definitely an unfortunate situation to go out like that for the Buffalo Bills, especially in the division where it's hard. Things are hard to come by. Well, not the division, because right now Miami is pushing that division with Indianapolis making problems. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. What Anthony say? Being the Washington fan, Ron Rivera just stands there. I do more something than he does. Sam Howell is the future, and our defense coordinator is trash. Why do you think double team DK? Why didn't you just double team DK? A couple more games, just 2 more games before we do a little shift into the NBA before we get up out of here, so I can start prepping for tomorrow. The Raiders the Raiders is drinking on the Kool-Aid that the Pittsburgh Steelers is drinking on, evidently, with the abilities to win late. Currently, new coach Anthony Pierce, 2-0 in his debut. That means that they were able to dispatch the New York Jets by the score of 12-16 with the win. The Raiders come a 500 team at 5-5. New York was looking for the same action, but of course, only one can win. They're currently 4-5 on the season. Zach Wilson, 23 for 39, 263 yards with an interception and 2 sacks. Garrett Wilson tried his hand at it 0 for 1. Zach Wilson, 4 carries for 54 yards. Breece Hall, 13 for 28. And Dalvin Cook, 4 for 26. From a receiving aspect, getting back into it, of course, we ain't heard his name in a while. Garrett Wilson was 9 receptions, 93 yards. Tyler Conklin, 7 for 70 himself. Breece Hall contributed with 3 for 47 yards. Alan Lazard was 1 for 17. Xavier Gibson, 1 for 24. And Uzma was 1 for 6. Looking at the other side, the team that got the win, Aiden O'Connell, 16 completions out of 27 attempts, 153 yards with 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 3 sacks for a loss of 27 yards. Josh Jacobs, 100 yards on the night off of 27 carries. DeAndre Carter was 1 for 15. Trey Tucker 1 for 9. Zamir White was 1 for 5 himself. When it came to the receivers, Michael Mayer, 3 receptions, 19 yards, and the only touchdown on the night. Jacoby Myers, 2 receptions for 21 yards. Devontae Adams, 6 receptions, 86 yards. Josh Jacobs contributed with 2 receptions for 11. Austin Hooper was 1 for 7. Renfro, 1 for 5. And Amir Abdullah was 1 for 4. And then a defense, opponent defense that seems to be up and coming, led by Crosby. Do you think, CC, that this is where the Raiders need to be? Caden O'Connell and a growing defense that's getting better and better. The run game starting to come back. Do we see a turnaround for the Raiders?
Well, it's working for them, and they getting lucky too. I don't know what the rest of their schedule look like, but if they keep playing teams like if they can play the Jets every week, then yeah, they gonna look real good. Uh, um, O'Connell, I'm not sure. Like right now, he's the best quarterback because he playing better than Jimmy G, and he figured out that he can throw the ball to some of these other guys, other not named. He don't have to force it to Devontae Adams like Jimmy G was trying to do a lot of times. You can spread the ball out. You can give the ball to Jacoby Myers. Like different things, and then the running game coming along. But I think Pierce. I think they should keep him as the head coach. At least they should at least give him a full year to see what he can do after this year.
So the rest of the season for the Raiders looks like the Dolphins at Miami, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Chargers, at the Chiefs, at the Colts, the Broncos. They don't sound too promising.
Yeah, that don't sound too good. Yeah. Like I said, if they could play the Jets over again, and the Jets, I told you, the Jets are what they are, and I think, and I'm gonna say this, I'm still gonna stick by this. The Jets would be in the same place that they are right now, even if they had Aaron Rodgers,
Oh, wow.
because
You
you
think so?
see, yeah, because you see that their problem is not. The only difference is Aaron Rodgers would probably score a touchdown here or there with that squad, but their problem is Brees Hall shows up when he wants to. Uh, Garrett Wilson, I haven't really been there all season. I think playing the Raiders was one of his better games. That's just my opinion. Like he hasn't really been there all year. They lack on special teams. They lack all the way around. They don't have a good offensive line. The only thing good about the Jets is their defense, and their defense, you can score on their defense though. So which puts pressure on their offense, but they don't trust their quarterback enough. My thing is when you under 500. I want to say this to I don't understand the teams when they 2 and whatever, 3 and whatever, even 4 and 4. You come into the game. Why you not trying to open up the offense? Like I don't understand. What do you have to lose at that point? I think a lot of coaches lose their jobs because they start playing too conservative. The Jets are way too conservative for the talent that they have. Uh, if anything, throw the ball to Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall out of the backfield. Run screen passes. I don't know. Do something. But throw the ball downfield. You got to move the chains. You got to move the chains. All this predictable football. First down run. Second down run. Now the Raiders was doing the same thing, but they got a rookie quarterback who don't know the offense. So you know, but even he was doing. He threw the ball downfield some of the time. You know what I'm saying? They took shots. Zach Wilson didn't take many shots in the game, so you get back what you put.
So getting back to what you put, the San Francisco 49ers are getting back to where they used to be at, right? 6-3 on the season, with the victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are also 6-3. Interesting enough, with the loss, so definitely was a lot on the on the line for that game. San Francisco coming off a 3-game skid in which they lost to the Browns, the Bengals, and the Vikings. Trevor Lawrence, 17 for 29, 185 yards with 2 interceptions in the game, 5 sacks for 28 yards loss. CJ Beathard, 1 for 2 with 5 yards, and Christian Kirk, 0 for 1. Travis Etienne held to 35 yards rushing off of 9 carries. The Ernest Johnson, 3 carries himself, 12 yards, and Trevor Lawrence was 2 for 7 yards. From a receiving spec, Christian Kirk did get 100 yards on the night. but that was probably about the only bright spot. Darius Johnson was 2 for 28. Calvin Ridley was 2 for 20. Tim Jones, 2 receptions, 17 yards. Evan Ingram was 4 for 12. I really actually thought he was going to be a problem for us. And Travis Etienne, 2 receptions for 9 yards on the night. Christian Kirk, of course, lost the fumble, as well as Trevor Lawrence for 2 lost fumbles. Brock Purdy back in the fold, 19 for 26, 296 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 2 sacks for a loss. I guess he had some evaluating to do. Sam Darnold was 1 for 2 with 6 yards on the night. Christian McCaffrey, 16 carries for 95 yards. He did not get a single touchdown, so his streak has come to an end, but of course, he can just start another one. Deebo Samuel back again, 3 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Mitchell, 8 carries for 23 yards. George Kittle, 303 yards, 3 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, 3 receptions for 55 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions for 47 yards. Debo contributed with 4 for 30 yards. Kyle Juszczyk was 2 for 26 and a touchdown. Ronnie Bell, 1 for 20. And Jawan Jennings, 1 for 8. In-state, it all leads to the 49ers being able to pull out the victory, 34-3, as they make their trek back up. Now they got competition for them 3 losses. Do you think it was a fluke, CC, or do you think San Francisco's back?
Man, I think they back, but I think they back. I don't think they ever went anywhere. They lost 3 in a row. Um, my thing is now they want to say, "Oh, Shanahan made what's his name come down to the side." Like, man, the narratives are like crazy. You got a team that's like playoff bound regardless of whatever. But I will say this though, um, they're gonna have their hands full with the Seattle Seahawks. They'll have their hands full with a couple of teams on their schedule. Um, and I think that now that you know that they bleed, it's like you know what I'm saying. It's like that whole Rocky, the Rocky with the Russian. Oh, he bleeds. Yeah. Now that we know, now that teams know that you can get to him and you can put pressure on Purdy and you can force him to make some mistakes. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting going down the stretch. But y'all playoff bound, man. So and I'm just disappointed that the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't at least put on a show at home. You know what I'm saying? They took that beat down at home. You know, you don't typically get beat like that at home unless you like the Giants or somebody or the Cardinals or somebody or the Patriots or something. You don't take 3 points at home. 3 points at home.
It happens,
you know.
happens to the best. But of course, last but not least, saving the best for last, all for you, bro. New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. So as I was sitting in the airport, or yesterday, I was not in the airport. I was sitting there, we were sitting down eating, and a conversation I could hear in the booth next to me was Dak Prescott beats who he's supposed to beat, but when he comes up against other players, other people, he doesn't show out. Tommy DeVito, if you don't know who that is currently the starting quarterback for the New York Giants due to the fact the other 2 quarterbacks that were ahead of him, the first string and second string, are currently out with injuries. 14 for 27, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 5 sacks for 25 yards. Saquon Barkley toted the ball 13 times for 66 yards. Tommy DeVito contributed with 7 carries himself for 41. And then, of course, Matt Breida, Jashawn Corbin, and Wan'Dale Robinson carried the ball all 1 time apiece for 3 carries, totaling 4 yards, respectively. Daniel Bellinger was 2 for 34. Darius Slayton, 3 for 21. Josh Corbin contributed with 3 for 12. And then, of course, 2 receptions from Wendell Robinson for 6 yards. And then a couple of 1 receptions for Lawrence Cager and Paris Campbell with a total of 16 yards receiving and 1 touchdown for that going to Lawrence Cager. For the Cowboys, however, Dak Prescott, 26 for 35, 400, the only 400-yard passer on week 10, and 4 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cooper Rush got in and got his serve on as well, 7 for 9, 68 yards. Rico Dowdle, 12 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 15 for 55. Dak contributed with 2 for 17 himself. CeeDee Lamb, 1 for 14. Cooper Rush, 2 for 15. Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. What was going on? Cooks, 9 receptions for 170 yards and a touchdown. CD doing what he's been doing, 11 receptions for 151 and a touchdown. Even Michael Gallup got into this fray, 2 receptions, 70 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Brooks, 4 for 39. Jacob Ferguson, 4 for 26. Deuce Vaughn, 1 for 11. And Jalen Tolbert, 2 for 2. CC, I understand you are a Cowboys fan, but I believe in your integrity. Was this just a situation in which you played someone that they definitely was going to handle, or is this the coming of some good things, being that we looked at them take Philly to what should have been a loss last week?
Man, we always smack the Giants around. That's just plain and simple. I don't think the Giants ain't beat us. I don't think since Dak been a Giant. I can't remember the last time they won a game, but against us. But no, we still got to prove that we could. We didn't. Bottom line, we didn't beat the Eagles. We got smashed by the 49ers. Those are the teams we got to look up to in the playoffs. Those are the teams we're going to probably have to face if we go anywhere in the playoffs, to go anywhere in the playoffs. Until we can beat those teams, we got the Eagles again. I'm anxious to see. We normally split with the Eagles. I'm anxious to see what happened this year in a few weeks when we play the Eagles again. But Trey, that game don't mean nothing to me. Like as a Cowboy fan, I'm telling y'all, like it's all just those games happen sometimes, but we never do that against the best teams. I'm not saying drop 49 on them, but and the things that disturb me the most is even in a game like that, where was Michael Parsons? We got 5 sacks, and not one of them was by Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, I don't even know. I don't even think he made many tackles in the game. I saw the game, so I didn't see him do much. He doesn't do much in big games. It's not just Dak that don't do much in big games. It's every star that we supposed to call a star with a star on the side of the helmet. I mean, I want to see this. Like I'm not worried about running up the score. It's good to get some practice in, but I want to see us play the Philadelphia's tough. I want to see us, I want to see us play the 49ers tough.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, what's going on, Mr. Mangum? Connect with my comrade. If you're out in the Las Vegas area, be sure to look him up to get connected. If you're trying to get someone in which I would have never thought of myself, or it's Will, who is my a veteran as well as my kinfolk, golfing. That's where his niche is right now. So if out in the Las Vegas area, be sure to check out connect with my comrade, organization that's built on being providing an outlet for people as well as veterans, so that way they can get a different outlook and take on life. What's going on, Will? So, of course, in which I don't know if it makes a difference to you, Veseresh out for the season, not expected to back. Is that going to be a damage to the Cowboys defense?
Vander Esch, no. No. We used to playing without him. We used to having a filler. He get hurt every season. Every single season. This guy, I can't remember, like it's Vander Esch. We know he gonna get hurt. I know he always had neck problems, so you always expect him to get hurt at some point.
Y'all's linebackers always have neck problems. Like y'all be having some of the best linebackers, but they all end up having neck problems. I guess they're not teaching the proper tackling methods. You know what? They don't even tackle in football anymore. I don't even know what the hell.
No, they don't. I'm just saying for me, I would have thought it was looking up at the other team's win. You know what I'm saying? When we not winning, you know what I'm saying? It's looking up, but we'll be all right.
So last night, of course, shifting real quick to basketball. It was only a couple of games last night, 4 in total, in which there was the Knicks and the Celtics, the Wizards and the Raptors, the Bulls and the Bucks, Cavaliers and the Kings. In-state, Celtics wins, Raptors win, Bucks win, Kings win. Now, I caught the back end of the Kings game, in which I watched them potentially almost give it up. Cavaliers was making headway, but wasn't able to finish it. Of course, the the Kings had 4 players in 20 points or more, led by I think it was Keegan Murray. Actually, no, it was the De'Aaron Fox, 28 points. Keegan Murray had I think 24, 25. So Keegan was 25 points. De'Aaron Fox was 28, 23 points for Sabonis, and 20 points from Horter, which was 4 of their 5 starters. The other starters, Harrison Barnes, had 4 points. However, they did have 13 points from Malik Monk off the bench. On the other side of the spectrum, the Cleveland Cavaliers were led by Donovan Mitchell's 22 points. 21 points from Karis LeVert off the bench, 12 points from George Niang off the bench, and then the Spartans, even Mobley had 16, Josh Allen had 12, and then Garland had 16. Max Strus contributed with 19 points. Currently, that leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers at 4-6, the Sacramento Kings at 5-4, but of course, with an 82-game season, that's only 10 games for the most part. It's still plenty of basketball to be played. But right now, what do you think of the two teams in Sacramento and Cleveland?
I think Sacramento. I think last year they put a show. This year they're gonna do the same thing. They'll probably be a second round. They're gonna be a tough second round exit for any team. For whoever they end up matched up against. And the Cavaliers, I hate to say it, but they going nowhere. Even though I like Donovan Mitchell, they going nowhere. Um, it's just too steep of a climb. The gap between it's early on, but the gap between Philadelphia, them, and presumably soon to be the Bucks once the Bucks all start playing together. Um, but I think Giannis can do it by himself. I think what I'm saying. Like when I look at the Cavaliers, I'm like, if they ran against the Bucks, Giannis could beat them by himself. Like you know,
So another game last night, like I said, Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, a face-off, an old rivalry in which the Knicks came out a little short in this one, taking the L, losing 98 to 114. However, Julius Randle did contribute with 25 points last night, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 26 points from Jalen Bronson, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal from him. Josh Hart was 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal on the night. 4 points from Robinson as a center, and 12 points from Quentin Grimes as he contributed with just 1 assist as well. Harrison, quickly, DiVincenzo were the only other players to score off the bench with 7, 5, and 3 respectively. But the Celtics, it's probably going to be a problem all season long. I wouldn't doubt. I would probably even give them potentially probably the number 1 seed at some point at the end of it. Boston Celtics currently 8-2 on the season with their win. Jason Tatum 35 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, 1 steal from Jaylen Brown. Devin White contributed with 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists, and 1 steal, 1 block. Kristaps Porzingis 21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block on the night. Drew Holiday 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists on the night. Now with Porzingis in the fray, of course that means Horford comes off the bench, which they actually did only an 8-man rotation last night, which was Pritchard, Horford, and Hauser, in which Hauser scored 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Horford was 4 points from 4 rebounds, 2 points, and then Pritchard was 5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on the night. In-state game set match. Boston, of course, RJ Barrett did not play in New York due to a migraine. They probably could have used him. He might have made the difference. Game set match, Boston. Do you think Boston is the real deal?
well, they've been the real deal the last few years, right? So yeah, they're gonna be tough again, but they're gonna fall short again because we all know that a guy like Jimmy Butler can come and take their heart. One guy can come and take their heart for the simple fact that they play too much one-on-one ball when it comes to the playoff time. If they learn to play team ball, they're unstoppable. But they're gonna go back to Brown holding the ball a long period of time, Jason Tatum going one-on-one. They're gonna go back to that, and that's gonna put them out of there. On the other side, Knicks make a darn trade already. Find some. They need the Knicks missing a piece. Um, I don't know if you go to look at the Bulls who's struggling again. You go look at Levine or DeRozan or somebody the Knicks need something else. They need something else. I don't know whether it's a dude down low or another perimeter player, but they definitely need something else. Like in order to compete in the East, the Knicks need something else.
Mm. Interesting. That speaks. When you look at it, another game taken on in the East, the Washington Wizards took on the Toronto Raptors. Not the most exciting of games, of course. Toronto with the dub, 111 to 107. I guess you could look at it aside for the aspect of the game, not the teams. Like I said, for Toronto with the win are now 500, 5-5. Washington has fallen to 2-8, making you wonder about the whole bringing in of Jordan Poole and all that type of stuff. Kyle Kuzma, 34 points last night, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. However, 10 turnovers, 14 points apiece for Gafford and Jordan Poole. Trey Jones with 10 points and 9 points from Adjava. In-state, at one point, Washington was up and should have had this game. Toronto turned up the intensity, and they were able to run it back, walk it back. Pascal Siakam, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals on the night in their comeback win. Scotty Barnes, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals. Jakob Pato, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Porter, 5 points, 1 rebound, one steal, 1 block. And Dennis Schroeder, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for the starters. Chris Boucher contributed with 7 points, 10 points from Precious Ottawa. Flynn with 6, 8 points from Grady Dick, and Josh McDaniels didn't have any points, but he didn't contribute at all, actually, in 5 minutes of play. But in-state it was able to get Toronto the dub in-state, 111-107. I know Kyle Kuzma did hit a three-pointer, or was trying to hit, did end up hitting a three-pointer, but prior to the turn to get to the point, to the spot, he stepped out of bounds, was called for the turnover, and it basically ended there. Washington, do you think it was wise to trade away Bill and bring in Poole?
When you the Washington Wizards, nothing surprised me, man. But no, they got the same thing. They was gonna be this sorry with Bill, so they gonna be this sorry with Poole. I mean, the Washington Wizards, that organization. I don't know. I would think about changing my name. I would go fresh. You know, I mean, UNDC. You got to do something to shake things up if you want to if you want to compete. Like, when's the last time the Wizards was competitive? Like the Gilbert Arenas days, maybe. They ain't been competitive in a long time. Like, I mean, competitive. I mean, even with Bill and John Wall had like a hot year, maybe, but
Correct. Yeah.
nothing sustainable. Like, they got nothing sustainable. It's got nothing to do with Jordan Poole. It's got nothing to do with Kuzma. It just got to do with the organization. They just a poor organization, make poor decisions all the time.
And last but not least, for last night's game, the Chicago Bulls faced off against the Milwaukee Bucks. As we know, of course, the hotness with the Bucks picking up Dame Lillard and teaming up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're expecting great things, in which I'm not going to say it's not, but they are. You would expect them to be better than 6-4. But as we all know, there's always a point. There's an incubation point for putting teams together, especially with high caliber players, to where they have to learn to mesh together and play together. And this is no different for Giannis and Dame Dash. Last night, DeMar DeRozan, shout out the hub, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists last night, 1 block, 26 points for Nikola Vucevic, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 20 points from Zach LaVine on 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 turnover. So not bad, too bad. And last but not least, Kobe White contributed with 16 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Points for Patrick Williams off the bench with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Andre Drummond contributed with 4 points, 5 points from Damonsu, and Jalen Carter with 6 points. But of course, like I said, they was playing the Giannis and company, in which Giannis went for 35 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. Chris Middleton contributed with 13 points, 11 points from Brook Lopez. Damian Lillard, 12 points on the night. Malik Beasley, 9 points. And then, of course, 19 points off the bench for Bobby Portis, 8 points from Moron Boatcamp, 5 from Jackson Jr. and Connaughton with 6 points. Add it all up equals 118, just 9 points better than the Bulls. And with that, Bulls fall to 4-7. Milwaukee increases to 6-4. And the East is still up for grabs, of course, not with the running. Milwaukee's not too far behind. Like you just talked about, our conversation, trade away, and you came up with the Bulls. Why did you pick those names? Do you think the Bulls is ready to start a fire sale?
Yep, because they're not getting it done. It's gonna be another year where they in a play in or something like that. They're not going anywhere. Um, you brought those guys together because you thought that you could contend in the East. You're not contending, so you might as well blow it up now and start fresh. But the Bulls ain't been nothing since number 23 left that building. We know that already. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bulls have, they had Rose, a couple of hot years with Rose, man. But these organizations, they don't know what they're doing no more. Like these organizations that used to win, they're not winning no more. It's a changing of the guard. But the biggest thing is DeRozan is at the end of. I mean, he at the end of his career. He's 30, what, 5, 36. He getting
No,
up there. Like,
early 30s year.
yeah, DeRozan not a spring chicken. Levine still got some years to go. So if I'm the Bulls, if I keep anybody, I keep Levine the younger, and I trade DeRozan. See what I
Mm.
can get on the market. I mean,
So
you can get some draft
I
picks.
know what I've been seeing. I think I was looking at, was it Clutch Points or Basketball Forever? I was checking out something yesterday, in which I see, of course, I seen a couple of things that were just directly from what the Bulls. One was a trade from the Bulls to the Lakers, which was the dumbest trade I ever could have seen. I was like, why would they even do that? And then the other one was a conversation, a reference they was thinking about potentially the Bulls sending Alex Caruso to Miami. But the trade from the LA trade, which was, I don't know who came up with that or even thought that. I didn't even respond to it once I seen it. I started to, and I was like, no, why would I even? It was Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso traded to the Lakers for D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, uh, Prince, Hood Shafino, our first round 2000, I think I was our 2020, was it 2029 first pick,
Yep.
and something else. I was like, what? Why? Like, where do you?
But that's
I was like, for one, Rui, Rui, no, D'Angelo can go. He's
okay.
D'Angelo could go, but Rui, no.
It is. I think I think it's a little excessive for all the pieces. That's a whole lot of pieces for two pieces to get two pieces back. One that you already had, Caruso know how to play with LeBron. And right now you're coming down the stretch where, let's face it, the Lakers ain't really gonna go that far until they start cranking up the intensity and some wins. But they gonna run into the same problem they ran into last year. Shooting gonna be a problem in the playoffs. Like I think if you brought Levine to that team, I can see why you want the Levine, because then if you got a Levine, then you ain't worried about Anthony. You ain't worried about so much what Anthony Davis does. LeBron can take some nights off.
You got a microwave in the score, a second score,
You know,
third
I'm
score, yeah.
just saying, LeBron can take some games off. He don't have to play as hard. AD can disappear like he does most of the time. I mean, like in certain situations. So, like Levine would give you that. I can see the move, but I don't see it happening. That's just too much for. That'll be too much for the Lakers to give up just to make that happen. Now Caruso going to the Heat, we saw what he did with LeBron and AD. I think he can go and do the same thing with somebody like Jimmy Butler. Like because Jimmy Butler needs some players that's gonna run with him. Like that's gonna make a run with him when he healthy. When Jimmy Butler get back into the game.
Someone that
I'm,
doesn't
you know,
that's not going to, you don't have to give the ball to. They're going to do the work off it. So to overshadow Tyler Hero or anyone else, like, yeah, that is what you get in Caruso. Plus, you get someone that can play defense. So
I
yeah,
would have
so
got rid
like,
of Hero. I would have got rid of Hero a long time ago if I was Miami. Like that guy's holding y'all back. Miami, he holding y'all back. Y'all can find much better players. You need a 3 and D guy, not just a 3 guy. You need a
Yeah.
3 and D. Yeah.
So Donovan talks about the Lakers 5-5, 10 games with 72 to go. 500 ball is not going to cut it in the West. No, it's not. In which tonight they actually have a game. The Lakers late game hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. Golden State will be hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Miami, before we just mentioned, will be at Charlotte. Atlanta at Detroit. Philly will be hosting the Indiana Pacers, as we know. Saying, of course, Kelly Oubre, as you know, was in an accident, so he's currently out. As well as in Milwaukee, Jay Crowder is going to be out for about 2 months with a couple of injuries. The Orlando Magic will be visiting Boston. San Antonio will be traveling to Oklahoma City. Dallas is going to be in New Orleans. Utah is going to host Portland. And last but not least, the Denver Nuggets will be hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. So before we get out of here, we'll speak briefly about this. The Clippers. Is it time that's needed, or you think it is what it is right now in LA with the Clippers?
I told you before I didn't like the trade. I don't know why they brought James Harden there. They had chemistry with the other guys. They were winning games, and they were a playoff team. They were a Kawhi Leonard away from last year from doing something in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Maybe that, like I said, the owner making this move because he panicked. I don't like it. At some point, you got they gonna have to make a decision. Is it gonna be James Harden or the rest of the team? You know what I'm saying? Because you can see by the press conferences that Kawhi Leonard ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? But Kawhi, you ain't always there down the stretch. So you know, different things. Like if they could, I'm pretty sure. I just don't like it. It's time to blow that up. It's time. You know, actually, I would move James Harden to the bench and go from there.
Oh, really?
I mean,
You just go ahead and bring him off the
oh
bench?
man, I mean, he don't have to start. I mean, that's my thing. Like, you come to this team, you work your way in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because they're not winning with you on the court, and they was winning. The other three was winning together. You know what I mean? Like Westbrook, George, and Kawhi, they proved they can win together. You know what I'm saying? Like James Harden, we haven't proved that we can win with you. So that would be my move, Trey. I would just move James Harden to the bench, whether he like it or not. See how it, and see how that impacts the team. But they on the verge of being, they could have been top six in the playoffs, but they on the verge of being like in the play-in again or something. You know what I mean?
And then one
If
more.
that,
I almost let it slip. Not going to State. Oklahoma, OKC, and San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama versus Chet Holmgren. Who you got?
Wembanyama. I think, but I think Chet gonna show what he got, but Wembanyama. I think now, if you asking me who got the better team, it's gonna be OKC probably gonna win the game. But as far as a head-to-head matchup, I think Wemby. I think Wemby. I think it's gonna be a good challenge for both of them. But I think for Wemby more so because everybody talking like I don't like that myth that this is Chet Holmgren's rookie season, bruh. He had time to play with that team in the off season. He had time, he was a part of that organization last year, so it's not technically his rookie season. So to compare the two sucks. This is my opinion. It sucks that a guy gets a second rookie season. Who does that? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's only because he didn't play. Because there's no difference. It's just like the same thing happened with Griffin when he started out. He didn't get a chance to play. So
but that's
his
what that's the
was
NBA, and it sucks to me that they do that, Trey.
so will be
Like,
too. That's another one. Huh? Yeah.
but it sucks to me that you get a second rookie season. It's like I've been saying that for years about the NBA. What is this second rookie season stuff? Like, no, you get one rookie season. If you had an
If you
injury during your rookie season,
if you ain't play, it's unfortunate.
but you're a part of it. But see, you got an advantage over these other so-called rookies, then, right? Because you're a part of the organization. You in on what they doing. You on the sidelines. You in team meetings. You on a professional squad. So it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? Wembanyama came from France, and this is his first. These games are his first experience. The preseason, the time that he spent in the little camp that they had or whatever at the beginning of October, that was it. So that's a true rookie season. It's like, no, it's not a rookie season, but that's something to talk about another day. As far as, come on, man, you get a whole other rookie season because you hurt yourself. No.
Well, in any case, that's that we call that a game for today. Greatly appreciate those that tapped in today. B.A., Anthony, Donovan, Will, Eric, uh, Tawan, and Lestanton. All appreciate y'all tapping in. For those who didn't, that's just sent love or kids like that. Greatly appreciate y'all checking us out this morning. Like I said, we won't be tapping in tomorrow or Thursday, but most likely come back Friday, talk about the Thursday night game, and go over a couple of things that's coming on Friday. Probably some of these tournaments that went through, getting closer and closer and closer as they're going to be coming up soon. We might discuss, will Colorado become bowl eligible come Friday? We don't know, saying if that hell. Where is USC going to be at? They got 2 ranked opponents left. They haven't won a ranked opponent game since they've lost to Notre Dame. They lost to Washington. They lost to Oregon, all ranked opponents. Now they have 2 more ranked opponents on their schedule. Will they be able to take care of business and get those 2 wins to bolster whoever's going to basically offer them a bid? Maybe some conversations to have. But, of course, we look forward to speaking to y'all. CC, tell them where they can find you.
You can check me out on the hashtag Die Hard Fed Show or hit me up on Facebook at Cornelius Cole. Also, in a couple of months here, I got these books in the work. I'm still working the whole book thing. So, Pains That a Man Hides Part 2 will be coming out. And I also got Try My Hand and romance novel, working out the perfection to that. Moments of Intimacy. First one, My Chicago Love out the gate. Both books working as a series. Got a lot in the brain, just trying to get it all out there. But thanks for having me on again.
Oh, yes, always love, of course. So, like you said, be sure to tap in when you see the notification pull up. It's we up out of here. Trade the commish, the people's champ. Holler. Peace.